If this continues in the upper bracket, more down in the lowers facing elimination.
So, probably one of the most automatic picks that we've seen when it comes to our analysts as we do head into KC versus Guild. But Johnny, if there's ever been an org that just seems to get these kind of results out of nowhere, Guild has kind of set themselves up to be that org.
Yeah, with many different rosters now, this is an exciting iteration of the Guild roster. A 2/3 English team with Acro and Gom, but of course Luis P, who he's a player that I've had my eye on for a long time. He's made waves in the 1v1 scene, so I've been a fan of him for that reason, waiting for him to make that same splash in RLCS. I think he is underrated overall, but not going to be enough. Not that underrated. I'm not trying to tell you guys that they're going to beat Karmine Corp. I'm not. And yeah, Vatira's actually just scored a pretty easy goal for 1-0. Yeah, I think this Guild roster, they could do something here. They're the Hogan mode of this tournament.
Well, they are, at the moment, in competition with Hogan mode when it comes to potential major qualification. I mean, you've got yourself into this position. You are guaranteed at least top 6. And no matter what the result is here, and the result here is looking pretty rough to deal with, you've at least got that lower bracket. But right now, that lower bracket looks inviting when they are doing this to you.
Oh, what a move by Itachi. A huge bump onto Gom and an easy goal for Vatira as well. Yeah, it's not looking good for Guild. This is the kind of aggression that Karmine Corp have, sometimes been lacking until the final day of regionals. They've been inconsistent throughout this season. This is, straight away the Karmine Corp that we've been hoping to see. I mean, this could be their revenge arc, actually, especially the Vatira revenge arc. He's seeing all the praise that Vitality and Zen have been getting, and no doubt he's looking at that enviously, thinking, that should be me. Why is anybody getting any praise? I should be getting all the praise. I'm Vatira. Some people don't like him for that. I actually have so much respect for Vatira for that. He puts himself out there. He's very bold on the pitch, bold with what he says, confident guy. And why wouldn't you be when you can make plays like he can? He's already almost scored a hat trick there, but now Gom on the counter-attack. Denied by Exotic.
It's a sort of personality that people get irked by whilst it's at the top and then love it afterwards. You want an example? Turbo Pulsar. Everyone very much on Team Turbo nowadays, but back when he was at his peak, maybe not quite so much. As KC have a massive chance today, and Vatira are forced to stretch. When this bracket was released, everyone had kind of the same thought, which is free for KC, that they've got the best possible draw that they could have got.
Yeah.
And that the teams around them, the Vitalities, the teams that might be able to take away the top spots and the top seed for the major are going to have to fight amongst each other. Well, KC, it's one thing saying that you've got the free road, it's another thing to travel it.
Yeah, it really did look like a very clear run towards the top 3. Vatira's just landed a high air dribble bump there on Acro. The physicality for Karmine Corp looking very scary early on. Oh, what a pass down from Acro though. Luis does not hit the target well enough. Vatira deflects it into the corner. That was the best chance of the game so far for Guild. And they got a bit of defending to do. Karmine Corp, they are getting on top of each other a little bit this game. The aggression mostly with their positioning, but definitely off the ball as well, making it difficult for them to play around each other. But luckily for them, it's even harder for their opponents to play against them when they do this. You can't read who's hitting the ball, who's going for the ball, and before you know it, it's in the back of your net.
With 3-0, nothing going for Guild at the moment. They just can't set their own pace. Talking earlier on about the respect that Zen was getting, just from the fact that he's up in the air, I think that is another good example that we saw there, where they just had to go. Exotic could be putting this on target, and you feel like you have to jump, you have to pre-jump it, and when the actual play doesn't come through, well, suddenly you are all out of sorts. The delay from Vatira, oh my goodness, hat-trick hero for him, and it has been as casual and as stylish as he could have hoped for.
Yeah, that's not the kind of defensive stand you want to see from Guild. If they're going to have any chance of taking a game in this series, even, taking the series as a whole, they have to be aggressive. They've got to fight Karmine Corp, especially when Karmine Corp have come out this strong. But okay, we got one on the board. Acro actually dodging a bump after the kickoff goes their way. It was Exotic trying to bump him. Acro swerves to the left, dodges that one, and then flicks it over Vatira. So very nicely worked goal by Acro. It's the defense that's the problem, Shogun. They need to start challenging early. They've got to be so organized, so quick, so accurate with their challenges in defense.
It does feel like, when it comes to general gameplay, they are 2 gears below of what KC can do in terms of pace. That might have been what was leading KC just sort of piling on top of each other, not expecting the game to be as slow as it has maybe been. It has worked out, and they are too slow yet again. Itachi wins the race. He's got the brace. So 3 goals for Tira, 2 goals Itachi. When's Exotic going to get some love? He keeps being the person to set them all up.
A good speed by Itachi, just too fast, too accurate, 5-1. Bit of an unfortunate touch before that from Acro. I mean, he really did not want that to deflect exactly into the curve above their goal and then bounce downwards. That's what's happened. Karmine Corp are not done. Exotic's actually staying airborne for this. He wants Matira to pass back to him. Matira's only got eyes for the goal. This one looks like it's over already. We've got timeout potential in this series, of course. No need, I think,
I don't think I've seen one after 1.
Yeah, I don't think they need to think about that yet, but Guild just have to play a bit more aggressively, and they've got to get their get the pressure on KC. If you give KC this much space, there's a nice little work goal again. I mean, they are getting goals. They've got one off a kickoff, now one for midfield play. It's some, good, solid hits that are difficult for Karmine Corp to deal with. Still, though, for me, I feel like they lack that confidence. They don't look like they're really going for it. Like, we're going to compare them to Hogan Mode, of course, who are the Cinderella run of Regional 1. Guild the Cinderella run of Regional 2. And Hogan Mode really inspired everybody watching them because they were aggressive. They were following each other up in offense a lot. They lost 4-1 to Karmine Corp anyway, so...
Yeah. I think it's one thing for everyone at home, the desk, us to come into this series and believe that they are underdogs, because at the end of the day, that is what they are. They cannot treat this series like they are underdogs, and that has been the general vibe that has come out from the start of game number 1. The second this match seemed over, then Guild have stepped up a level or 2, but Tira's got his 4th. Just starting to stat pad at the moment. This is a significant match as well, because we did talk about Guild's chances to maybe make the major. If you do lose this one and you drop down to that lower bracket, you've got BDS waiting for you over there, who will be quite happy about their fortunes. Maybe coming in today playing against Team Liquid, whilst their nearest rivals were against, or PSG Tundra were against Oxygen. I think BDS would have felt a little bit hard done to regarding the matches that they've had to play. But Guild need a good run here, otherwise BDS, on the form that we've seen, would annihilate.
Yeah, I think what we've seen today from BDS is definitely enough, more than enough, to take down Guild, even on a good day for Guild. Guild have, they're just going to focus on the task ahead of them here, and that's to try and get something against Karmine Corp here. They need to try and just get their challenges in early. I mean, if they go in defense, if they go for the ball early in defense and they get outplayed, fair enough. At least you tried. At least you did something. But there's been a couple of goals this game where they've just sat in goal, sat in the net, waited for shots to come at them. And that's not how you play against KC. That's just an easy way to concede goals. You cannot rely on reactive defense against KC when they're in form. They're definitely in form today. 4 goals for Vatira, 837 points. Not all about his stats, but man, definitely impressive to see numbers like that.
Yeah, that is absolutely terrifying. And for Guild, I just to harp on what you were just saying there, I do completely agree. They have had this little bit of sitting in net and hoping for the best, but KC aren't just going to put a shot on your net. They're putting it towards your backboard, and every time that's happened, Guild go, oh yeah, we have to react to that. And then, well, from there on out, you have checkmated yourself. So for Guild, they have to try and match the pace. We're not going to say they will. There is no silver bullet against KC. If there was, the rest of Europe would have had a much easier time this season. But this was nothing for them in terms of a strategy to win. Just go for it, especially if you have time before you take the time out.
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea to play one game in the opening. With a more defensive, reactive style, but once you identify that, okay, yeah, KC are on their game, they're not missing open nets, they're not hitting the post, they're not playing crossbar challenge, let's just actually start to go for the ball, because we're not gonna beat them capitalizing on mistakes when there are no mistakes to capitalize on. Will Guild go for it? Are they gonna fight for that midfield? Will they challenge KC at all here? Will it just be a walk in the park?
I would like to see Operation Full Send come into effect in this game. You've tried one version,
Yep.
let's try to go to the exact opposite side of the scale and go off the backboard. And Itachi, that was almost disrespectful of how casual he's playing this, and he almost went the entire way. And that's a little bit of nothing so far, but the nothing has worked and caused a bit of chaos for KC. Back out into the midfield, not the power required. Best spell that we've seen for Guild. And that is a bit of a wasteful hit, so KC have escaped.
That's a very good touch in defense. Gom accidentally backflips on the attempted takeoff for the counter-attack. At least Guild have held Karmine Corp to 0 for almost a minute. That's promising. Karmine Corp never really a team to be frustrated. They just keep chugging along. They just keep on going and going. They're not a team who just randomly overextend and give away pressure for no reason. Oh, Itachi's got them out here. Gom did not expect Itachi to have another touch. Itachi did indeed have another touch, and it turns into a goal.
Yeah, you'll have just heard a sigh the moment he hit the boost button and realized, yeah, that's over me. I can't do anything about that. And after the good start that Guild had, a very deflating way to concede your first goal. We have seen good kickoffs out of them, though, and they've got a possession. Acro stealing, reset over the top, and would have liked to have got that one close to the crossbar, but now once again, shot in!
Okay. But that was speedy from Gom, attacking the center ball. Luis intelligently centers it by smacking the sidewall as hard as he can. And then Gom beats his man and slots it past Vatira as well. I think previously at the other end, the goal that Guild conceded, it looked like they just weren't on the same page. I think Gom was expecting Luis to make a touch into the sidewall, just like he did there, but a defensive touch into the sidewall, kind of to back pass it to Gom. And then, of course, Luis did not do that. He just left it, so it looks a bit silly to be off his line, but, it's not necessarily a terrible idea. He just wasn't on the same page as his teammate. That time he clearly was. Guild starting to put it together a little bit. Oh, Exotic's dunked on them, though. Just when it looked like they might barely survive, it's in the back of their net.
I would love to just start watching the amount of pre-jumps that we are seeing from Guild. Like, they are so panicked every single time KC have got prolonged offense that eventually something is just going to go wrong. It's a fantastic dunk. Now it might be about to be 3-1. Luis trying to get rid of it. Gom powers the ball long. Tira, nice pop up. Itachi's just going to leave it for now. It has been better from Guild. Just a couple of occasions, though, where it feels like the moment they get stuck in their own side of the field for a prolonged period of time, it just feels over. We don't know if they've quite got what it takes to get out of that position. As Exotic goes for net, and Vatira makes sure of it because that one was a little wide.
It looks like they're surprised that Karmine Corp are challenging. Gom messed up his flick, and now Acro not able to get behind the ball on the 50-50 in time. And Karmine Corp are just absolutely out pressuring them. They're the more aggressive of the two teams, and Guild are not ready for it. 3-1. It's a long time to go. The rate things are going right now, we're going to see another Karmine Corp win, and I think a timeout called by Guild.
Vatira's hurtling his way to a 10-goal rate. And what he was hoping will be only 4 games. Exotic back down, looks for Itachi. Gom once again has had the pace on occasion. Just been getting that rotation right long enough where he can make a difference. Power clear. KC forced to retreat back. Brilliant first touch from Vatira. Second touch though, left a bit to be desired, and requires some help from his backup.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to scoop the ball there and get a little bit more lift on it, but he hit it too low. Oh, what a shot. Vatira off the crossbar. Another shot as well off the crossbar by Itachi. Karmine Corp absolutely peppering the backboard right now. Guild just seems stunned. They seem completely incapable of dealing with this Karmine Corp aggression, the pressure, just the speed of the second man of KC always arriving before Guild are ready. It's a good dunk though by Gom. They've got a chance here to do something with this. Vatira with a very good 50-50 though, buys Karmine Corp all the time that they need. And just like that, they're back on the transition. They're the more efficient team by a mile. It's not close. Luis has got a good chance here. Decides to pass it off the crossbar. Exotic ready for it. Actually expected a shot to be coming in. Matira cleans up the mess again. And with a minute to go, Guild still having a very hard time in this matchup.
I do feel like the best work that we have seen from Guild has been coming from Gom. He has gone very positive with the way he's trying to play it. I think there is no other way you can really go about a matchup like this. Cutting rotations a lot. Could have done with some contact because you've left Acro 1v3 against the most lethal offense that you could. Sorry, mate. You don't stand a chance.
Oh, it's a shame, but I mean, the work Karmine Corp have done earlier on in the series has caused now Gom to overestimate what Exotic was going to be doing there. So he jumps high to block a touch that he's anticipating. And then when the touch doesn't happen, he just flies right past the ball, leaving his poor teammate, like you said, in that 1v3. Again, the Guild are actually creating some chances on the infield pass. Just looks completely fruitless, though. Obviously, timeout has to be called here, right? There's no way that they go another game without one.
I mean, we could give Guild a timeout after every single one of these games. It would still probably be a bit of a struggle here. There's a question mark, so you know where actually now, Johnny, as we do head into the final few moments of this game. You've got the whole of Europe to choose from. 1v3, you're the last person back. What is the team you least want to see?
Okay, so the question is, if you're the last defender...
If you are the one,
okay,
what is the European team that you would least like to see as the three heading your way? Now, I'm admitting you're probably going to concede against about 8, 9, 16 different teams in this regional.
Yeah,
that's not against you.
It's a very, you know, I feel like there's lots of right answers to this question. I would probably say Team Liquid would be the worst team to be in a 1v3 against.
Bad because I agree with you, but maybe not for the same reasons. Because they would demo you, stop the ball on the goal line, and just keep demoing you for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, Team Liquid. I think it's got to be Team Liquid. If you're in defense, Team Liquid, probably scariest team. If they're on form, they obviously weren't on form this weekend. But you know, they've shown consistency over long enough time that I still have to go with them. I've got another question for you. Since we're going fully abstract here, realistically, Guild have got probably a 1% chance of winning this series. We're not going to lie to you guys. But if we gave them Stumpy Goblin, he's not actually casting this weekend, but do you guys think if Stumpy was playing in Guild, like 4v3, we just give them Stumpy, they can have him on the pitch as well, would that be enough? If they had Stumpy on the pitch,
I feel like from the 2 matches that we've seen so far that we've played with him, he's good for a goal. He's not good for anything else. Like the rest of it, invisible, if not in the way.
Which net though? Like he could be going either way.
It'll be in the correct net. I'll give him that.
Okay.
But yeah, at least from the match that we had against Oxygen, the match we had against Oxygen, I think he's good for 1. Vatira's good for 6, 7, 10.
Yeah, this is just right back to where we were. Great touch by Vatira. Luis pumps by the last man. Or by the first man, sorry. And yeah, it's just 1-0 already. 6 seconds. That did not take long.
If we're continuing on the question mode here, Johnny, where was the timeout?
Yeah, I think they might just be tilted. I think they might just be a little bit tilted. Don't know if Guild are a tilty team, but my mind immediately jumps to that. If they don't want to call timeout down 2-0 when neither of the games are close, then they've got to be tilted. It has to be. But yeah, they might call it after game 3, which is completely pointless exercise. Now you have to reverse sweep Karmine Corp. I mean, good luck. Karmine Corp, we have a timeout.
That would
still a learning experience for them, though.
Biggest upset of all time.
Yeah, I mean, before they go to the admin, before they go to Psionics and say, actually, our playstyle requires a 4th player. That 4th player is Stumpy. We need him on the pitch with us. Before they go down that route, they can, still try and work on some things in this matchup. First thing would be to try and figure out a way to stop Karmine Corp from scoring so easily. Karmine Corp are just having far too easy of a time putting the ball in the net. It's not been difficult for them. That is Guild's, I think, #1 problem that they've got to try and fix. That's just #1 problem. I feel like there's another 5 or 6 problems in this matchup. That's just a big one.
There's the first one on the whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
They're through again here. Itachi off the backboard. He is challenged. Yeah, it's very difficult to pinpoint where this has gone wrong for Guild. It's just outpaced, outclassed at this point.
We've got to remember,
a lot of it goes back to what you were saying earlier on, Johnny, about it's just panicked. You know, they are desperate to get rid of this, and KC will happily do the old fairy peak and not lose a situation.
Yeah, I mean, they are playing Karmine Corp to give Guild a bit of copium here. Karmine Corp are playing very well right now. There's few openings to exploit, if any. Karmine Corp are playing very physically. Once again, Demo lands. We had a bump on the first goal, Demo in the second goal. Guild just getting completely destroyed off the ball in this match. So, when Karmine Corp are playing well in Europe, they are the best team in Europe. Obviously, that's up for debate more than ever with the return of form that we're seeing from BDS and the rise of Vitality. But Karmine Corp are still that team in EU, and they've just come off their worst result in the entire season, which has angered Vatira and angered Karmine Corp. So they've been, working really hard to show up with the best form possible. And it looks like, credit to KC, they have not looked past this matchup at all. They are taking Guild as seriously as possible. They are not, throwing 3 players forward aimlessly here. They're playing this one out so efficiently, so effectively. It just looks like a different league entirely. Guild do not look like they're in the same league as Karmine Corp today.
We do get one opportunity for, though. Here comes Gom, and straight at Vatira. But we were speaking last week about how we thought that was the most stacked top 4 in Europe and how Europe in general was seemingly leveling up. The one team out there that disagreed entirely with that was KC. As far as they could see it, they just underplayed what they were capable of. Now, how much of that is just to try and keep the mental strong? Maybe not everyone else is catching up. They definitely are, KC. But they will look to get a better result for themselves this time around. And if they can't do that here, we get another Vitality win, then you do very quickly start looking towards a team like Vitality and say, well, all right, now they are the big dogs of the region. And at the worst possible time for KC, because as good as you have been, you don't want to peak at a time which hasn't got a World Championship on the line.
Yeah, you got to have that peak at the right time. I mean, that's where BDS really do look like a bit of a deja vu compared to last season, not really playing up to their usual level all season long, only to show up. Oh, hang on, we've actually got a real scramble at the end of the game here. KC running out of boost. Guild have put up their best 4 minutes just to be down 2-0. It is, it's 2 goals, so if they can somehow get one against the run of play here, they can get one, maybe swing the momentum in their favor. This is a great air dribble, in fact, by Acro. He's got the double commit. KC are starting to scramble, still keeping the ball at the net.
Scrambled incredibly well. Demo as well. 40 seconds. If anything is available here for Guild, it has to be done now. Reverse sweep against KC is unimaginable. So now they need the follow-up. Vatira gets there in time. Home against Itachi. Demo as well, so a chance to work out.
Yeah, Acro's really come to life in the last minute. He's had some great aerial plays. The KC have survived all of those, and now they're just wasting all the time that Guild need. If they're going to come back here, they need to put the ball in the net on this counter-attack. And this counter-attack has to be a quick one. Here it comes. It's not going to be fast enough. KC do confirm the Game 3 win. Quadruple match point for them. But that's a promising end to the game by Guild, actually. They had some good saves at the end of that game. They had Acro looking dangerous in the air. KC had to respect that. They were double committing in defense. Obviously, they were following up those double commits with very fast recoveries, almost instantaneous recoveries. So it's not like they're double committing and then having to play 2v3 or 1v3. They still had all players relevant immediately afterwards. But yeah, it's just a glimmer of hope there at the end for Guild. And they have not called time out. That just doesn't make any sense. Did they know they were time out? Maybe they just forgot.
It feels to me like it's almost like accepting. That's the only reason why I can think of to not take a timeout at all in any of this. Because there's been glimmers there, as you mentioned. There's been things to build upon. And they could have done with the time just to talk to each other and even settle that down. If that is the mentality, I can't say I'm a fan. This is possibly the greatest learning experience possible. Even if you can't go in and get a real series out of it, you've got to treat it like it is one.
Yeah, the real problem.
Understand. Maybe they don't got one. They've not been here this season.
Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't call a timeout here. You know, I've got to think that maybe they just didn't know they've got one. They definitely knew they got one, but I'm imagining that they forgot because they're not used to being top 6 where timeouts are actually a thing in this format. But like you said, you've got to try and use this as a learning experience. You know, Guild are up against it here. They're playing against an in-form Karmine Corp, a very, very dangerous looking Karmine Corp. And if you're gonna, you know, get anything out of that match, you have to make it last as long as possible. You know, put up as much of a fight as you can. I think the obvious timeout was after game 2, but absolutely after game 3, for goodness sake. Well, you were not. Come on, what are you saving it for now? Are they going to call timeout after a Karmine Corp win and flex on them? I feel like they've missed an opportunity there. This young team with potential, you know, can't be squandering opportunities like that.
You do see, especially for Luis, the way he's been developing over the past few years and how a lot of the, I'm going to say peers that were developing at the same time as him. You got your Raziers, your Rezzies. I feel like we're all sort of in that same pile for me. Starting to find results and success.
Oh, actually, sorry to interrupt there, but they did try to call a timeout apparently, but they just didn't get it. They called it too late.
Oh.
So they called. Oh. Exotic scoring 1-0. No change. Not that it would have mattered anyway. Obviously, KC are just going to keep on doing what KC do. I think it must have been this. They're not used to this top 6, you know, kind of scenario where timeouts. Yeah, timeouts do exist, obviously, late in tournaments, not in the early stage of the tournaments where Guild have been playing this whole season. And I think they just didn't realize you've got to call it straight after the game. You can't call it like 30 seconds later and say, oh, actually, we want a timeout, by the way.
That might have been after game 2 then, exactly when we wanted to, because they were very late on the ready up.
I think it was after game 3. I think it must have been, because that's when the calls come through. Yeah, it was after game 3. They tried to call it, but they didn't do it in time. So Guild doing absolutely everything wrong today, on the pitch, off the pitch. They just can't compete.
Well, at this rate, at least they'll know against BDS, who are waiting in the wings over in that lower bracket.
That is some amazing copium. What have we learned today? Okay, we've lost 4-0 to Karmine Corp. What have we learned? We've learned that next time we call a timeout, don't wait until it's too late. Okay, hold on. Oh, they nearly scored there. Well, I say nearly.
My glass is perpetually half full, my friend.
You got to take as much out of this as you can. Oh, Acro's actually slotted it. What a shot. I just assumed that it was going to be an easy in and out save for Vatira, because that's kind of what's been happening today. Acro got there quickly enough. Nice placement as well. Hitting it low makes it more difficult for Vatira to save if he's diving in and out of his own goal like that. A brilliant shot, Guild. 1-1. Is this the start of the reverse sweep, Shogun? And do we see a timeout called after the Karmine Corp win from Guild? That's what I want to see now. Please make it happen. Oh, God, no. So close.
Well, Hogan Mode did get one out of them last week. Guild would like to do much the same. And it would be the most incredible thing on the planet if they were able to do the reverse sweep. But we'll focus on one game at a time until then.
I'm not thinking about the reverse sweep. I'm just thinking, imagine Guild still use their timeout after one of their own wins. Like, that's what we need to see now. Guild, please.
To this point, shocked. For as long we've got timeouts now for 2 years.
Yep.
We've not had one. Like,
no one's done it.
No one's done it. I'm sure it must be in the rule set that you're not allowed to call it after a win or something like that. Because there's no way, looking at some of these players and these teams, nobody's not had the thought of, oh, we might as well call it after a win. Why not?
Yeah, I feel like if I was to think who does that, Rise is a kind of name that comes to mind. I can see him calling a timeout after winning a game. Nolly over in NA. I think. Who do you guys think? You can weigh in on this discussion. What are your players that you think are most likely to call a timeout? Just nice flex. No, what save that is. Now hold on a second. Luis and Acro are flying forward together now instead of the bar, and it just doesn't bounce well for Gom. He dove over it.
I think Gom could have been asked exactly where he does not want that ball to go, and it went exactly there for him. Horrible bounce.
It really is. It's the worst possible bounce when you're trying to get there quickly. You don't want to wait and see what kind of bounce it is. You just want to get there before the defense can recover. But the ball bounced down and then over the top of him. It's a bit unfortunate there for Guild. They were very close to taking the lead.
Still 1-1. Guild have been getting this closer and closer as the series has gone along. Unfortunately, the lead was incredibly high coming out of game number 1. Last game 2-0. Vatira off the backboard. Is this going to be the moment? No. And now they've got the breakaway opportunity. It's Gom that's tasked with it. He instead chooses to try and steal some boost. Steals the other one, so now it's up to Casey to try and feather, and that was so wasteful! You've given it to Exotic on a half volley, and he won't ask any other questions.
It's a great read by Exotic. Good positioning, to be fair, but it's just careless by Guild. It's the classic center because I can, but not actually looking to see who's going to be on the receiving end of that center ball. It's why an infield pass can be risky at times. And now Karmine Corp is 39, 38, 37 seconds away from sweeping Guild into the lower bracket, as unfortunately many of us did predict. Do Guild have any fight left in them?
It's going to have to be a mega play to do so. KC have not looked like they're in the charity mood today. To Itachi, who will follow it up the wall. To Exotic, drops it to Vatira, and Gom's not ready, and now they're on the breakaway. Vatira is already back, must have been bumped that way off the initial touch. And Gom's completely whiffed it. Exotic takes it away, and that is the series. 4-0 to KC, and Guild now have to deal with Team BDS in the lower bracket.
It's so close to, potentially dramatic ending there, but Karmine Corp, too strong. Guild could not keep it together, trying to play at full speed at the end of the game there, and they just didn't make good contact on the ball. KC 4-0 over Guild. We're going to see Guild later on today in the lower bracket against BDS. Now, I think BDS are a team who are more likely to make mistakes and give Guild free goals, as it looks like they were trying to do at the start of the series. Guild trying to capitalize on mistakes. It never ended up happening. I think BDS, stylistically, more likely to make mistakes, so it could work. I think Guild's style could work more against them, but obviously BDS, did they just beat Liquid? They should be beating Guild as well. But yeah, stay tuned later on today to find out if Guild will remember to use the timeout in time, as they failed to do in this series.
Yeah, well, when we come back, we'll be continuing on with the European Spring Cup with our other semi-final matchup in the upper bracket.